Testing 1 2. Okay, I'm gonna do a little vocal recap, vocal lesson, could call it. And this one is testing out a technique. We're going to compare two techniques actually. Now, the first one being, how can I put it? Yeah, the first one being called is DTD, which is diaphragm, tongue, diaphragm. So breathe in, pronounce, back onto your diaphragm for support, and then back up again to a final resting position, which is H. Now, that's not letting go of the diaphragm. That's sort of like all in one. It's like a do. After that second diaphragmatical awareness, one sort of rests on the high glossus. Do, do, which is slightly different from just going DTD, which is just resting on the diaphragm. So that will sound like this. Do, and I'm sort of down there. As with this one, I go do, then I sort of come back up into my mouth. So making that connection between the high glossy and the diaphragm. Do, adding that extra tensioning of the vocal cords, which the high glosses can do. Do, do. Now, one of the things about that technique in comparison with 1 2, just double checking, in comparison with one which I might call DTH, which is just diaphragm, tongue, and then goes straight to the high glosses, which will sound like this. Do. Now your diaphragm is still working because it's still out breathing, still releasing as soon as I started my first pulse on the tip of my tongue saying duh. But the difference is do is sort of more open. When you go back down to the diaphragm before coming back up, do sort of takes a little bit of pressure off the high glossy. It's almost like you've gone down, steadied yourself, and then come back up to rest, as opposed to just going breathe, pronounce, rest, which is DTH. So DTH, do, slightly tight high glossy. You know, you can improve that by doing a better pulse. Let me try that again. Do, a better pulse gives more freedom. Do, it's a more definite note, a better chord closure. Do, which means less pressure on the high glossy to try and sustain whilst holding air back as well. All right, so let me try that again. This time DTD-H. Do, and again. Do, do. Yeah, you can kind of hold it more steady in the high glosses here, a slight less tension, and you feel like you've got hold of two parts rather than just one. It seems to be less air pressure as well. Do, and you've got your feel right there. Do, do. Okay, so that's one of them, DTD-H. Now, what are we comparing that to? Not DTH, not you could say DTD-H is a bit of an improvement on DTH, because you are breathing in, pronouncing, supporting, making sure you have support, and then coming up for your final part of your sustain. So it's like it's a 3-part, 4-part tone making mechanism as opposed to a 3-part. Okay, so the other one we're going to compare that to is DTD, establishing that that's a good practice. Do, resting back in the diaphragm. Now we're going to go somewhere else to finalize the tone. This time we're going to go to the CT muscle, which is what I call the voice box. So this will be DTD-V. Let's try that. Do, do that again. do, and again, do, do, do. We try not to do DTV, which is just do, do. Again, a bit more pressure on the voice box, just like there was a bit more pressure on the high glossus. This time I want to go back down to the D. Do, and then send a better controlled steady stream up to the voice box. Do, do, do. Okay, we're going to compare that to the DTD-H now. Do, do, and then DTD-V. Do, do, DTD-H. Do, do, DTD-V. Do, do. Okay, so as far as the way it feels, they both feel quite easy. The DTD-H seems a little bit harder to get to because it is slightly higher up, but tones sit very nicely on that muscle and you are giving your vocal cords a really good stretch. The other way, when you hang on the CT, do, you feel like the tension is in the CT. Not that much tension, but it is there, as opposed to at the different position higher up. Because it's easier to get to, do, you kind of feel like you can pronounce a bit more easy because your tongue has been made looser. Do, yeah, 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 yeah. Just do DTD-H. Do, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, different qualities. The only thing to consider is which is the best place for sustaining tone or tension in a tone. Is it the CT or is it the high glossus, which is stronger? Now, obviously the high glossus is a bigger muscle group, so in a sense, theoretically, physically, should be able to sustain a tone easier there, or at least pull a pitch easier there than at the CT level. But the CT level is directly on the vocal box itself. If we just go to a direct CT level right now, just for a little tester, I'll use the word go. So I'm not doing DTD or anything, I'm just breathing in, diaphragm, and then voice box. Go! Okay. And now I'm just going to go straight to the diaphragm, straight to the high glossus. Go! So you can see they have different tonal qualities, and one of them is more efficient than the other. Perhaps it depends on the strength of each area, but nothing wrong with strengthening those two muscle groups because they can both obviously affect the pitch. Now, if we go back to DTD, go, go. Do that again. Go. That was DTD-H. Very easy, very fluid, very easy. Hardly no sensation there, which is nice. But you can still feel the muscle in activation, which is good as well. Let me try that again. DTD-V. Go. really good tone, nice and light as well. Seems to be easy to pronounce in that position as well. So there we have it. Two different techniques compared there. DTD-H, diaphragm tongue, diaphragm high glossus, versus diaphragm tongue, diaphragm voice box. Okay, practice, practice, practice.